agenda here. In these conflict contexts, women peace builders are engaged in trying to mitigate the impact of conflicts and to reimagine more peaceful futures as we have been listening to them. And we have been training thousands, as Ms. Mabatu has indicated, across this continent to be mediators, and they are not being utilized. They remain, therefore, largely excluded from formal peace processes. This is because of the very nature of our conflict context, as outlined. This is why it is imperative for us to have a conference of this nature, to show our agency, to show our solidarity, and to provide our support. And to begin to be at the forefront as women of conceptualizing, of advocating, and of shaping processes and institutions that can usher in a more peaceful world with shared prosperity. We are at an interim moment where the old is dying and the new is not yet born. And as women, we must again organize and harness our experiences and resources to bring about the necessary changes. Not to do more of what we've been doing for 25 years, but to be bold and innovative in our thinking, in our practice, and to make the necessary shifts. As South African women, we have always shown solidarity with women in conflict countries. It is in our DNA because we too had to face the onslaught of oppression. And when we were in need, others did the same for us. Our own struggle against apartheid could not have been achieved without the support of our continental, diaspora, and international brothers and sisters. We succeeded in transitioning to a more democratic South Africa, in which women are included in leadership positions, including in the peace and security sector. So we know that these transitions are possible. We ever still have a lot to do to heal from the trauma of our violent past and to build a more peaceful and equitable country. And this is why we have a national action plan on women, peace and security. It is our roadmap to create a safer, peaceful South Africa, Africa and world for women, girls, and gender non-conforming persons, to enable meaningful participation of women in peace processes, and to prioritize their needs and experiences and agency in all conflict and non-conflict contexts. Government departments and civil society, with supportive partners such as Norway, Ireland, Netherlands, UN Women, and others, have been working together to get our NAP implemented, and this conference is another such example. Minister, as part of our NAP process, we have produced a peace charter for South Africa. It's come through a long consultative process. You will find these on your chairs. And we would like to, at the end of the messages of support, formally hand this to you, Minister, hoping that government can endorse our peace charter. It commits us to promote a culture of peace, to create institutions for peace, and to support peaceful relations between states and communities, to resolve our disputes non-violently, and to create safe environments for everyone, as well as to display compassion, solidarity, and responsibility. As part of this panel of messages of support, it is appropriate that we urge our own government to endorse a peace charter as a symbol of the collective will of the people of South Africa. Without further ado, I want to call firstly on our civil society representative, Ms. Sabisi, Nonto Sabisi, to come and make her very short message of support. I thank you.
Thank you. Let me stand on the already pronounced protocol as I greet you. Excellencies, Honorable Minister Lamula, for supporting such an initiative. It's an honor and a privilege to be standing here in front of you. Before I continue, I must express my deepest comfort to those who mourn. those who are right now battling with unanswered questions of how long do I have to survive. It's a privilege to be here today as a member of civil society. For a change, I could dress up and look good and not be dirty in the community. I must express my words to the hearts and the ears of those who are needing this comforting right now, removing their doubts and fears that there's always a storm. There's always a rainbow after every storm. I speak tranquility into the bosoms of your silent chambers. I inhibit rejoicing sounds of hope as raindrops would connect deeply on dry soil after a long drought. May you remember that you, only you, with every positive thought, can save yourself. Peace starts in you. Built in the architect of your mind construct. Be intentional in your moment of meditation, creating them as you find your hands busy and your mind buzzing. Quietly preserve every breath in knowing it is a gift to be alive. Owning this preciousness of your life is the result of the investment of the quality of peace that you have inside. Having the opportunity to be here in front of you today and speak on behalf of civil society and as a member of the Women Mediators Network, Gertrude Shope, it's undoubtedly a gift. My path as a woman mediator and the work that I've done in community to championing the empowerment and the immense strengthening of the experience that I've gained in the community. It has been because of the platform and the ground that the government of South Africa has created in partnership with civil society in the implementation of the National Action Plan. The National Action Plan, when I first came across it, I thought, gee, what a big document. What are we going to do? Until I realized that action was the middle word and it required each one of us to find our feet on the ground and roll up our sleeves. There are a number of programs that have been done, including the capacity building program to increase the number of peacekeepers and mediators, not just for the Gertrude Shope network, but also in communities. We have done numerous activities as Ugusagwami, an NGO which I've founded, where we work with main stakeholders, including faith-based organizations, SAP, CPF. You'll be surprised how cybersecurity is such a pivotal and important aspect of increasing security. We've had the opportunity to partner with organizations such as Accord and the Department of International. The role of government has not stopped in ensuring that the robust training reaches the people, the CPF, the police, to ensure that they know how to do their work. Because when we look at crime, we often look at the immediate challenges that we are faced with, but crime has moved to technology and cyber, as you would agree with me. So we are in support of what continues to be done by our government in strengthening and showing solidarity to the women around the world as they are in conflicted areas. So thank you to the women from Charlotte Lobe, Karen Khomo. Thank you so much to Professor Cheryl Hendricks and many of the ambassadors who have played an incredible role in equipping us and supporting us in the work that we've done from the grassroots level. I thank you.
Many thanks, Ms. Sabisi. My pleasure to now invite Ambassador Seither, the Norwegian ambassador to South Africa.
Yeah, thank you very much, Program Director, dear Minister Lamola, colleagues from the diplomatic community, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I would also like to give a special thanks to the very important introductions we have had at the start of the day. Really illustrated the problem ahead of us. It is for me a great honor to stand before you and represent Norway at this important gathering. This occasion is yet another demonstration of the shared aim of our respective countries in the operationalization of Security Council 1325. For us, when we speak about solidarity, it's impossible not to reflect on the deep and enduring history of solidarity that Norway has shared with South Africa, both in the past, when we stood firm in support of the fight for justice, human rights, democracy, and our continued cooperation today. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is in turmoil and the security situation for a record number of people are in jeopardy. And if we just go to two of the cases presented earlier today, Palestine and Ukraine, there are very, very serious violation of international law that is creating so much suffering. We don't need any more. If we look at the operationalization of 1325, there is a few good news. One study showed that in the 90s, 12% of peace agreement and peace processes included women. Today it's 26%, still way to go. And then there is the added complexity of having gender or women's issues included. Peace agreement doesn't mean it's going to be implemented. I think there was one study from South Sudan, also represented in the panel earlier today, showing that only 10% of the gender provisions in a peace agreement had actually been implemented. So we have a long way to go. We have 110 countries, including Norway and South Africa, have made our national plans on women, peace, and security. But how, so as many of my earlier speakers have said today, how can we make it more operational? I think maybe one way of doing it more operational is to look at prevention. And I think women's organizations are very often important in diffuse tension when there is tension between different communities. So women's organizations working from the grassroots upwards do not often get the credit they deserve to reduce tension when there is conflict between different communities. So that's maybe one area one could look more into. And of course, Norway, we will intensify our efforts both nationally and internationally to implement Security Council 1325. Let me also give one perspective why this is important for us, and then I'll get personal. Today, or I should say yesterday, we celebrated 8th of May, the 80 years since the end of the Second World War. And that was the most brutal war ever fought. And the imprint is lasting. And again, let me be a bit personal. My mother was 8 years old when Nazi Germany invaded Norway. They occupied the house of her parents. They sometimes threatened her brothers. But I should also say that the atrocities that we have heard about earlier today is of far worse magnitude. But even when my mother was 70 years, when she heard German being spoken on the TV, she would turn off the TV. So, I mean, that trauma from the Second World War just lingered and lingered for the rest of her life. Of course, we have an excellent relationship with Germany today, and that's not the issue. But the issue is how long does a trauma stay in a child? And of course, the children, the women that we have talked about earlier today, there are enormous, serious traumas that is going to be with those victims for the next decades to come. So I just take me back to that point of, you know, we must avoid, as someone also said, Cheryl, you said it, might is right. We don't accept a world where might is right. And that's why Norway is very consistent in condemning violation of international law, whether it's in Palestine or Ukraine. Norway have been in this world of might is right for several centuries, as many other small European countries, and many African countries too, during colonization. We don't accept might is right. And we know that attitude of might is right, which is so prevalent, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, is just unacceptable. And the victims that are most affected are women and children, as in all wars. So again, thank you so much, Minister Lamola and Program Director. Thank you so much for this opportunity. We will continue our strong collaboration with South Africa, and you are the best partner we can have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Just to say to the women from Sudan, South Sudan, Mozambique, we'll come back to you. We are very privileged to have Minister here with us today, but he's rushing to the airport as we speak. So, and we know the flight cannot wait for him. And also to Madame from representing the UN, will come back. And also we know that Deputy Minister from the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities is also waiting on the other side. Our apologies. We just need to allow the Minister to come in and present his message of support. And if the Minister is ready, please, Excellency. While Minister is coming in, I understand that as Professor has said, the network cannot mess up with this opportunity to present the Peace Charter to the Minister. So please, Excellency, if you can come, and then Prof will also present it. Is there a camera to capture this moment? Perhaps then present, if you allow Excellency to present the Peace Charter. And then
Minister, it's a great pleasure to hand over the Peace Charter to you. There's a letter explaining exactly what it is. It's the work of both civil society and government and shows what we can collectively do to build a more peaceful South Africa. I trust that you can do the necessary to have government endorse it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for the handover of the Peace Charter, which will follow the government processes with regards to its endorsement. But it's a great initiative from the people involved in conflicts in our country and across the world. So it is a great honor for us to have received it, and we believe that it will shape our thinking and values with regards to peace as a peace-loving country. Deputy Minister, who is present here, DDG Lomo, Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, representatives of the United of the Gertrude Shope Women's Mediation, esteemed colleagues from government, civil society and academia, distinguished delegates, friends and partners, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to address you this morning at this landmark Women's Solidarity Conference. I've heard testimonies and inputs from women involved in conflict from the various parts of the world, from Ukraine, DRC, Sudan, Ethiopia, and many other parts of the world, speaking about their lived experiences and the contribution that they are making in humanitarian access, conflict resolution, and on-ground services and work that women do on a day-to-day basis in conflict-ridden areas. In a world of rising inequalities and of intensifying global conflicts, these solidarity conference and engagements between government and civil society, it's a manifestation of the department's commitment to highlight and address the plight of women as victims and heroes in conflict zones in their struggle for survival and justice, and to underscore the urgency for targeted interventions. It is also a platform through which women leaders across the globe will utilize to raise their voices in solidarity with all those in conflict areas, to world leaders and that wars must end and make space for sustainable peace, justice, and development. It is against this background that the South African government expresses concerns over the escalating tensions between India and Pakistan. We call for de-escalation and restraint. All efforts should be taken to protect civilians and civilians' infrastructure, while ensuring that there are concerted efforts from both parties to negotiate a peaceful settlement to the rising conflict. Excellencies, Ladies and gentlemen, the world is navigating a rapidly evolving geopolitical environment defined by rising global competition, changing alliances, contested international norms, economic volatility, and escalating geopolitical tensions. These deepening geopolitical divisions are fueling mistrust and threatening to undo hard-won progress in addressing global challenges such as poverty, armed conflict, climate change, pandemics, nuclear proliferation, and the rights and the well-being of women and children. In the midst of these constantly changing global dynamics, the world currently faces more than 50 ongoing armed conflicts, spanning a wide range of regions and scales. This includes armed conflicts in some of the countries that we have heard the women's testimonies from. In these conflicts, no region is spared. These conflicts have caused millions of deaths and displacements of refugees, human rights violations, and infrastructure destructions. In all of this, women bear the heaviest burden as caregivers, as survivors, as protectors of families and communities, as most of us have heard through the testimonies that they've made. But some women are also actively fighting in the field side by side with men. According to the United Nations Women, in 2023, over 170 armed conflicts were recorded and approximately 612 million women and girls lived within 50 kilometers of these conflicts, a staggering 50% increase compared to a decade ago. The proportion of women killed in armed conflicts doubled in 2023 compared to the previous years. Sexual violence in conflicts rose dramatically, with the UN verified cases of conflict-related sexual violence soaring by 50%, and the number of girls affected by grave violations in situations of armed conflict increased by 35%. This takes place even in places which are supposed to be safe havens, like the refugee camps. Furthermore, women in war zones also suffer heavily from limited access to basic facilities, including healthcare. As a result, it is estimated that over